are back to answer another 3 questions, and people, this is the 4th Gerann special. This is what happens when other people are asking questions. They build up a set amount of backlog of questions. I mean, don't get me wrong, Gerann's a great guy, and I'm very appreciative that he keeps asking me these questions, but come on people, you need to ask more. Right, his first question. Even though games are listed in the categories, and he goes into a list about this, action, adventure, beat-em-ups, role-playing, simulation, sports, strategy, blah blah blah, what would be your top game in all those categories? Choose one for each category. Beat-em-ups, I'd say Street Fighter 2 because it's Street Fighter 2. You know, arguably one of the most legendary and iconic arcade games, and on for the home consoles, where you could play as Guile, Blanca. I always played as Chun-Li because I felt she was very versatile as one of the characters on there, and Helicopter Kick. Need I say more? Action... I'd probably have to say Jurassic Park Rampage Edition, because on the Sega Genesis, Mega Drive if you're in Europe or Japan, back in the day, really decent action-adventure game that was sort of, you know, continuing on from where Jurassic Park left off, so I'm led to believe. And you can play as either as Grant or the Raptor, which is in a very similar method to how the very first Jurassic Park game did on the NES, on the SNES and the Mega Drive back in the day. So, but this one is just like, you know, the volume in terms of action is turned way up to such a degree that it felt like it was doing things that the movie didn't, if you get my meaning. Role-playing. Probably Sonic Adventure, because of the fact you got six characters, and you're having to complete very similar objectives and other kind of goals and priorities within the game, and they all intertwine with each other. So Sonic Adventure for role-playing. Simulation, Sid Meier's Railroads from 2006, arguably one of the best, you know, railway simulators there is today, and it does it in a very caricature fashion, which I dig. Sport. Well, since there's no racing game in this, I'm gonna say Need for Speed Most Wanted. In my honest opinion, best Need for Speed game ever. And by Need for Speed Most Wanted, I mean from 2005, not the one they released in 2012. I know some of people like that, but I prefer the old school version from 2005. And the Mustang, for me, was the best handling car in the entire game. My opinion. Adventure, I think that kind of comes under the same context as Jurassic Park Rampage Edition. I know I'm kind of breaking the rules there, Gerann, but that's just how I feel. Strategy, probably Batman Begins, because of the way that you're having to plan your moves 2 to 3 moves ahead of everyone else in the game. So that was decent. Right, we're on to question 2, finally. Please name your top 10 music bands of all time. Oh dear. In closed brackets, if you have any. Right. I'm not necessarily going to list them in any specific ascending or descending order, but the 2 favourite bands that I have, that I favour a lot is, one is Jamiroquai, because around 96, 97, JK's music, you know, spoke to me in a lot of ways where music could be fun, but it could also be very deep and very meaningful and just sort of get you thinking a little bit. Huey Lewis and the News, what's there to say? They're Huey Lewis and the News. You can listen to their songs some 20 years later and the lyrics actually are very relevant. Let me, an example from Working for a Living. $100 condos, 200 rent, I get the check on Friday, but it's already spent. That can relate to anyone in any day and age. Back in Time, Power of Love, Give Me the Keys and I'll Drive You Crazy. You know, I could go on. You know, the man has been successful for as long as he has done because Huey, it just works. End of. Next one, I'd probably say the Jackson 5 because, come on now. Some of the songs that they released back then are still being loved and played today. Things like Don't Blame It on the Boogie, or You Can Feel It, which the Tamperer actually sampled their music with What's She Gonna Look Like with a Chimney on Her Head. I don't know the actual official song title, so, you know, comment section below to correct me. I like the Bangles because Eternal Flame, arguably one of the best love songs ever. That's probably it. I tend to like a little bit of everything in regards to music. I would never consider myself a huge Beatles fan, but I do appreciate their music. Hope that answers your question. Number 3. If you could have starred in any 80s TV series, I can see where he's going with this already. Which one would that be and why? Gerann, how long have you known me? Why is this question even being asked? You know the one I would be. All systems go, Michael. If I could be in any 1980s TV series, it would be Knight Rider, hands down. You know, you look back at Knight Rider G1, as I prefer to call it, you have what is called a trend setter show, because before Knight Rider, there was no show like it. And then you get Viper and Street Hawk being a trend follower after it. And, you know, you look at the lessons that the right lessons that Knight Rider taught to people, but without shoving it down your throat in the same manner as, say, Captain Planet and the Planeteers would have done some many years later, which Ted Turner was the head of. I understand what the guy was trying to do, but sometimes you get across better people by being subtle, if you get my meaning. It would have been so fun to have played the legendary role of Michael Knight and be in the driver's seat of the Knight Industries 2000, turbo boosting into history. You know, to be part of those legendary stories, it really doesn't get any better than that. Those have been your 3 questions this week, Gerann. Now, for those that actually would like to see more episodes where there's more questions from everybody, you know the usual shtick by now. Send a question to one of the social media outlinks in the outro, question in the comment section below, or leave a question in the forum. It's there for you people. Until then, ask again.